All right, good morning, everyone. Andrew Zimmerman here, lead meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Wakefield with our Monday morning weekly briefing looking at the week ahead and through the upcoming Memorial Day weekend. As we can see here, we've had high pressures built into the region, bringing some pretty nice weather. Sunny sky there on the visible satellite image, looking like a nice pleasant morning, and followed by a kind of a seasonally warm day today. And we're going to kind of see those conditions continue as we go into tomorrow as well. We have this area high pressure remains over our area into Tuesday. We see that move offshore Tuesday night, and then low pressure moves through Tuesday night into Wednesday, bringing some showers, maybe some embedded thunderstorms. And then as we get into Thursday, kind of a secondary cold front comes through, maintaining a chance of showers, especially as you get more into Eastern Virginia. Southeast Maryland is where we have better chances on Thursday. And then as we get into Friday, into the Memorial Day weekend, it looks like we generally have below average temperatures and dry conditions for the holiday weekend. Looking at our marine weather, looks like we could have another little bit of a northerly small craft advisory surge for the Chesapeake Bay. That would be late tonight and early tomorrow morning. And then as we get into the day, Wednesday night, and then Thursday as well, it looks like we have more widespread small craft advisory conditions with that low pressure system and following cold front. Kind of looking at more of a broad overview here of the next week. You can see this area of high pressure I mentioned. It's actually centered well north of our region. It's more kind of north of the Great Lakes into south central Canada, but it really does expand southward into the mid-Atlantic region, bringing some pretty nice weather to start the week here. And then we can see initially we have a warm front that approaches from the southwest as we get into Tuesday night, and then into Wednesday, that warm front and low pressure bringing showers, potentially some embedded thunderstorms. That'll push out Thursday with kind of the secondary cold front moving through, and then we see high pressure build into the region as we get into the holiday weekend and up toward the Memorial Day holiday itself, with the better moisture kind of remaining west and southwest of our local region. Kind of zooming in on some of the more details here. Just quick overview here, more zoomed in locally. You kind of see the progression of that low pressure system and cold front moving through. Wednesday, we do have a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms, but that's very much conditional on how that low pressure system tracks. Right now, a lot of the data keeps it more south of the region, which would really kind of limit the severe risk, mainly kind of in the vicinity of the Virginia-North Carolina border, and then more southward into North Carolina itself, with lesser risks to the north. But again, we can see that change a little bit if the low pressure system does track a little farther north. That could bring some of that little better severe potential farther north. But as it stands right now, it does look like that's a little more suppressed to the south. Rainfall wise, we're not looking at any really widespread heavy rain at this point with the Tuesday night, Wednesday time frame. However, if we do get some localized higher rainfall rates over the wrong spot, especially like urban areas, could get some nuisance flooding. But again, at this point, it's not looking like a real widespread risk. As you can see here with our rainfall amounts, it's generally speaking a quarter to a half an inch southwest to half an inch to an inch for most of the area, with some localized amounts of an inch to inch and a half. Again, primarily in the Tuesday night, Wednesday time frame, with then maybe a little additional when those showers come through, any lingering showers with the secondary cold front Thursday. You can kind of see here in the timing of the best rainfall probabilities is really kind of right there in the Tuesday night to Wednesday time frame, and then those probabilities kind of highest northeast for Thursday. We have started our rip current forecast for the year. Right now, it's low to start the week, but we could see looking like we will see elevated risk of rip currents as we get Wednesday to the end of the week. Once we get elevated seas and higher wind with that low pressure system and cold front moving through. Looking ahead into the following week, so basically closing out the month of May to the 1st of June, we are looking at favoring below normal temperatures and then looking at near to above normal precipitation. So this would generally be the week following Memorial Day. Looking at some of our marine probabilities here, again, this would be especially as we get into the day Wednesday, pretty high confidence for small craft advisory conditions, but really any probabilities for like low end marginal gale conditions they're very limited at this point. So it's primarily looking like small craft advisory conditions. Yeah. As you can kind of see here, let's switch over to this. Sustained wind gust forecast. If we look here in the Wednesday, Thursday time frame, you see it's initially a strong east to southeasterly wind Wednesday, and then shifting around to west-northwest to northwest on Thursday. And we can see, especially for the ocean, we will see those building seas with especially with some onshore component to the wind there on Wednesday, should see seas build fairly quickly. Kind of looking at Wednesday in a little more detail for any of those that have maybe a little more interest in some of the details of some of the stuff we look at here. I just kind of overlaid here. This is kind of a joint probability of instability or buoyancy along with wind shear. This is a probability. As you can see, based on what we're seeing right now, a lot of those higher probabilities for elevated instability and elevated wind shear are kind of along and south of the Virginia-North Carolina border, tapers off pretty quickly to the north. So that's kind of what we're looking at there for anybody who's interested in a little more of the details of what we look at. And switching out here to rainfall, we look at 24-hour rainfall. Again, sort of looking at from a ensemble or collection of model guidance here. You can see we're generally in the half inch to 1 inch for the mean. If you look at some of the statistical guidance, if we bump it up to the 90th percentile or sort of that reasonable worst case scenario, you can kind of see some spots that would be in the inch to an inch and a half range in here. So again, generally speaking, looking at a half an inch to an inch of rain, and locally an inch to an inch and a half. And then again, primarily Tuesday night, Wednesday time frame. So with that, I will go ahead and close the main portion of the briefing, and I will go ahead and be happy to take any questions.